I'm for yield. I don't see a reason why we can't or shouldn't be able to offer yield as a stablecoin issuer to sort of incentivize usage. At the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest, like the yield in Canada sort of sucks. We're looking at
Sort of.
2.25%, and fundamentally, you're really not, you know, gonna attract a large group of people to use stablecoin by giving even the full yield back, like 2.5% yield. So I think it sort of matters a little less. I think it really it's important if we want to sort of build use cases around treasury management and enabling companies that rely heavily on treasury management and that yield from its assets as a core piece of revenue for their business. Those companies are going to be impacted the most if yield cannot be sort of passed back to them. They would simply not adopt a stablecoin use case because like they're not going to hold funds that don't provide any yield because that's a fundamental part of their business. I think it becomes a little bit more interesting. Like I don't think like passing back like bond yields is going to be that significant overall. I think what's more important is actually developing yield in marketplaces that actually beat the traditional yield that you get from just holding the asset. So like a yield that can generate 4, 5, 6% through decentralized protocols like Aave and Morpho and stuff like that, and create vaults around that becomes much more interesting. The lower the yield on the bond side actually creates more demand on the lending and borrowing and the DeFi side because that becomes more and more interesting. And I think that's sort of where we're sort of headed in our positioning and our strategy is like how do we provide market based yield back to the consumers and sort of create an ecosystem that sort of helps fund that 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 sort of use case. And we're really thinking heavily around that because I think it becomes a lot more interesting than just passing back yield. Like I'm gonna be honest, like if you want 2% yield, I think Wealthsimple is offering that like on their checking accounts right now. Like you don't need to use a stable coin to get 2% yield. That's not really going to move the needle at the end of the day. It's a nice to have, but it shouldn't be something that I guess um, fundamentally changes our approach.